This is Mountain Vision. Welcome to the Blue Devils Football Coaches Show. Your home for all things Manchester High School football. With head coach Evan Hochstetlar and your host, J.J. Hush.
Hello and welcome to the Manchester Football Coaches Show. I'm your host, J.J. Hush, with the coach of the Manchester Blue Devils, Coach Evan Hochstetlar. Coach, thank you again for your time this week.
Thank you.
So you guys, the second round of the playoffs, you guys go down to Brooks County, Georgia, and you guys played a hard game, but came up just a little bit short, 41-27 in that ball game down in Brooks County.
I tell you what, it was incredible atmosphere. The kids played outstanding that night. I was very proud of our football program and the effort they put forth that night. It showed a lot of heart and character throughout 4 quarters. I was very appreciative of the fans that made the trip down there. I think it was a little over 3 hours, and at times it almost felt like a home field advantage because of the atmosphere. Our fans got behind us and they were cheering the kids on. So it was a good night for Manchester football.
Yeah, for a long drive and a long game like that, usually you don't have that home support come with you, but it seemed like that they did a great job supporting you guys, and you guys handled the pressure of an away game pretty well.
Yes, Friday was a pretty good day overall. You know, we got out of school a little bit earlier because of the travel. I think according to a plan we made the previous Sunday, I think we're 12 minutes ahead of schedule. We got there 12 minutes too fast, but other than that, it was a great day for the kids. The kids made a lot of memories, and
we talked about going into this ball game. Of course, Brooks County, they had 19 seniors on the roster. They were a very experienced football team, and they had the home field advantage. So it was definitely going to be a task. But it seemed like that the younger guys and they really stepped up to the challenge and took this experienced team as far as they could go. Really.
Yeah, I tell you what. Talking about Brooks County, the 19 seniors, those seniors, obviously they're older than we were, but they also played in some really big ball games. And the second round to them it's kind of like another ball game, and the fact that they've been there and done that. And they played in 2 semifinals the years before in 2013 and 14, and this year they got beat in the third round by GAC. But they were a very good football team, and our kids responded well. We got hit in the mouth early on. The Brooks County scored on their first possession, and then they came back, and we told the kids this week that Brooks County, they would take chances on kickoff as far as the onside kick and stuff. And sure enough, they did take that chance, and Brooks County recovered the onside kick. So we were kind of snake bit very, very early in the game. I think the second possession, they threw a long pass, got it down to about the 2, and scored on the next play. So our kids were down 14-0 very quick, but they were very determined to show that we're a good football team, and they have a lot of heart, a lot of character, and I was very proud of the fact that we did not rattle, we did not shake. We faced the adversity that Brooks County threw at us very early, and we did a good job.
Yeah, they went for the neck real quick because DeMonte Jones, a great athlete he is at quarterback. He was on in that first half. I think he may have threw a pick in the second quarter. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that a little bit later, but he was on in that first half and jumping up 14-0. You guys get behind, and a lot of teams that are new to the playoffs with a new head coach usually just drop down, but that's not what you guys did.
No, maybe 11, 12 weeks ago, the snake bite might have been a little bit worse than it was at week 12. But here's the thing, our kids have been getting better every week, not only on the football field, but I think their character and how they handle themselves is much better. My wife was telling me a couple weekends ago that she can tell the demeanor and the way they walk is better than it was the first couple of games, and they carry themselves better. And I hate to use the word pride, but they do have a sense of pride in winning a couple of games, and they feel good about themselves. Anytime you feel good about yourself, you're not going to let go of that very easily, and they were fighting for it.
Yeah, and in that ball game, it was an offensive ball game in that first half. They scored those first 2 possessions, but once you guys got the ball, y'all knew what to do with it. Y'all went down and scored in y'all's first 3 possessions and made it a tight ball game, 21-20, right there with a minute and a half to go in the first half.
Yes, I was very pleased with that, especially as a head coach and a play caller, and calling plays. We were somewhat vanilla early on, and our kids just running our base plays. we were able to trap them with the fullback, and we ran ISO very well with the fullback, and we were running butt sweep in our counter game with the halfback. So we weren't able to run jet as good as we have in weeks prior, just because of Butch County speed and their outstanding outside linebackers. But we were able to run butt sweep, trap, our counter stuff, and ISO as good as we have all year long.
Yeah, and it seemed like, the offensive line was really getting after it in that first few possessions because the linebackers, are so big and so strong for Brooks County, but they wasn't getting to the plays or getting chipped, and it was hard for them to get and pursue the ball. Your offensive line did a great job.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job. We had two seniors at guards, and I had a junior at center, and they got better as the year went on. And our tackles did a good job as well, and our tight end. I can't say enough about how much they have improved from week one. I can show you film from game 1 and 2 from the last couple of games. They do not look like the same kids. They're wearing the same numbers, but it's completely different um, attitude in the front line. I know Dad and I were watching it for the first time the other day, and when we snapped the ball, I hit the pause button on the computer, and it gets look at the offensive line. Their hat levels are low, and their steps are really good. And obviously, linemen are not going to be perfect every play, but our guys really got after it, and that's one thing I was very proud.
And the running backs, you talk about the importance of them getting out there and blocking on the edges and making those key blocks to spring the other running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the three running backs, with Trey Gamble and you had Ashton Bell and Anthony Bell, that main group really did a great job of helping each other out, and they were springing each other as the game went on.
Without a doubt, Gamble and Little Bell, they got better as the year went on, not only running the football but blocking. I think they understood the fact if they don't block, they're probably not going to run the ball as well. So they're blocking for each other and helping each other out. And we were talking a couple weeks ago on the same radio show that we're doing now. That I was bragging on our halfback Bell blocking on ISO about his hat level, and sure enough, he was doing the same thing as Butch County. Mine got a little bit lower, and he was punishing the linebacker instead of getting punished like he was earlier in the year.
Yeah. And talking to a little bit about, we'll get to those two guys in a minute you got coming back next year in Gamble and Ashton Bell, but Anthony Bell, for his last game, he really did a great job of running it up the gut. Not as much carries as he usually gets, it seemed like, because there was so much success with those other two guys, but he really put it all out there on the line in the last game of the season.
He did an incredible job. I was very proud of him. I was excited in the type of year that he had. I think he finished over 1,100 yards, and I'm not sure how many touchdowns. So I have to go back, but he became a very good fullback in our Ring T offense, and I think he set the standard for fullbacks for the next couple of years. Um, the other day at school, the running backs were talking about he's going to be fullback next year. They understand the fullback is the cowbell in our offense, and Anthony Bell, he was the cowbell from game 1 all the way to game 12. Obviously, he got to a slow start, but as the year went on, he had some very good football games. He had a good game against Butch County as well.
Give me just a little bit of a overall recap on the season from the offensive standpoint. We talked about it, from the Charlton County game all the way to now. It looks like just two completely different offenses, even though it's the same system.
Well, it looks different because we're having success and having fun. Recapping it, we had two backs that had over 700 yards, and we had a fullback that had over 1,000. I think our QB threw for about 910 yards, so that's a lot of yardage right there, and then that's not including the backups in the in their row. And we had a receiver in Addy that had I think ended up with 590 yards receiving, so that's a lot of yardage. So we were moving the ball well in the second half of the season. We're putting up some points, and I think the kids are very excited. They had a lot of faith in the offense. They had a lot of confidence, and they enjoyed being in the system. It's one of those things. It's not one guy. It's the guy that we're just going to give the ball to all the time. They understand that we have a receiver that's going to stretch the field vertically. We have a tight end that we'll try to get the ball to every now and then, but we have 4 or 5 bats that any given night they can have 100 yards.
We'll be back with more with Coach Hochstetlar on the Manchester Football Coaches Show.
Time for a new mattress? Wilson's Fine Furniture in Manchester has a great selection. From twin size to king size, Wilson's has it. In fact, Wilson's Fine Furniture is your hometown mattress outlet with name brands like Sealy, Simmons, Serta, and more, all at competitive prices. Wilson's also carries a full line of living room sets from Ashley Furniture. Save big now with 30% off all in-stock living room sets. Pay cash and save even more. And don't forget appliances, your hometown mattress outlet. Wilson's Fine Furniture, Main Street in Manchester.
Here at Sun Fashions, we have a variety of all your needs, from half wigs to whole wigs, from lace front wigs to ponytails. We also carry your beauty supply needs. We have your latest fashion in jewelry, handbags, clothes, and shoes. So whenever you're in town and you want to shop around, make it your passion to come to Sun Fashion.
Manchester Farm, Garden, and Hardware is your fall headquarters. Carhartt Clothing, the right gear for any job in comfort. Available for men, women, and children. Fall flowers and cool weather vegetables, along with an array of home decor for fall and the upcoming holiday season. Fall also means hunting season, rifles, handguns, and more to make sure you're ready to bring down the big one. Don't forget the great selection of Georgia boots. It's all at Manchester Farm, Garden, and Hardware.
Welcome back to the Manchester Football Coaches Show. So, Coach, the offense did their job, and they had some turnovers, but they kept you guys in the ballgame. But the defense, they fell behind the sticks a little bit as far as with them scoring 14-0 start. But after that, it seemed like they finally caught on to the system a little bit and played pretty well in that second half.
Yeah, Butch County came out on fire, and you got to tip your hat to Butch County. They had an outstanding system in what they do. They're a spread team, but they run the ball just as much as they throw it, and they have very good athletes and a good offensive line and good coaching staff. So we knew we had a challenge going into the game, and Butch County won a couple battles in the first half, and we came out and made some adjustments at halftime. Coach Turner does an outstanding job, and Coach Dottridge in the secondary. They talked to the kids at halftime and got them motivated. And our defense played just about as good as you can in the third quarter, all the way up until about 5 minutes left in the game. We kind of got worn out, a little tired, but they arose to the occasion. I'm very proud of the defense. Our free safety went down earlier in the game, and we had to put a backup in, but we did an outstanding job in the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, Ashton Bill, I think is who you're talking about, that went down with the injury, and he's big on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, even though he's only a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
But losing a guy like that in the ball game really does affect the chemistry a little bit of your secondary.
Yeah, it does. He's the one that makes the calls for us, or our alignment and coverage wise, and anytime you lose a starter in small ball, it affects you. Losing Little Bell, you're talking about the free safety, halfback, and all the special teams plays. You might as well said you lost two starters. In reality, he is a two-way starter, and it counts for two players, offensively and defensively. I know he had 90 yards in the first half. He had about 30-yard touchdown catch on the play that he got injured, and so you're looking at about 120 yards offense of production that we lost from the first half to the second half. But our kids responded. We told our kids at halftime it is what it is. Told our halfbacks that they're not coming off the field. And, we have Magruder that stepped in for Little Bell, did an outstanding job, and Gamble stepped in for Little Bell on defense. So Magruder and Little Bell are playing halfback, but on the flip side of that, they're playing the special teams and playing in the secondary, so they did not come off the field.
Yeah, they did a great job of filling in, young guys. Of course, D. Gamble's a freshman, so putting him in, is one of those things that is kind of, new to him, but he's actually stepped up and played a very good role as well. But talk a little bit about your defensive line. I know getting after the quarterback is a struggle, especially when they're getting the ball out so quick. But it seemed like they did get some pressure on DeMonte Jones at times.
Yeah, they did a good job. We got a couple sophomores on the front line. Actually, three of them. We have Jackson, Waller, and Mahomes, all sophomores. Then on the flip side of that, we have a senior in Ditson plays the other defensive end, and he did a good job for his last ball game in high school. And they got better as the year went on. They got better as the game went on. Watching film a little bit, sometimes the hat level is a little bit too high. But other times their techniques almost textbook. So next year we're hoping instead of have a couple plays too high. They only have one play too high, and their techniques improve play in, play out, and they're only going to get better. I know we're looking forward to big things out of our defensive front next year.
Yeah, and in the secondary, when you face a team that throws the ball so much, you got to be on your toes every single play. One misalignment or anything like that can lead to a big play, and they did have some big plays. They even had one throwing over a guy that usually had a lot of picks here in DeMarcus Addy. They went at him a lot, but he stepped up and made a huge play there in the second quarter to kind of change momentum in that ball game on an interception in the end zone.
Oh yeah, that's a outstanding play. It was in the back of the end zone. It's one of those things. It's athlete on athlete, and Preacher Man, he's an outstanding football player. He's not only an athlete, he's a great basketball player and a good athlete, but he turned out to be a really good football player too. People don't understand it. He's very smart in timing his jumps and understanding the coverages and all that. So we were blessed to have him on the football team, and he made a big play. And they did have a couple plays where they went after him. They went after both corners, and it's one of those things where Butch County has a lot of good athletes, and we have some good ones as well. We won some battles, and they won some too.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you put man on man, it's just who wants the ball more. And DeMarcus Addy, a senior, was out there in his final ball game, wasn't going to let it get away from you guys too quick, and you came back and y'all came in within a 1-point game at that point.
Yes.
And so talking about momentum, the third quarter was almost stagnant compared to how the first quarter went. Talk a little bit about the scheme and a little bit about the intensity the defense showed in the third quarter.
They just got after it. I think our defensive front got after it a little bit more, and we started making some plays. We made them punt in the third quarter, and I think that's the only time we made them punt throughout the game. But it's just one of the things they got to make the plays. A lot of times in the first half, they were in position to make plays, and we'll make contact with the running back or QB or receiver within the 2 or 3 yard range of the line of scrimmage, but all of a sudden it's an 8-yard gain. So we were in position, we just didn't make the plays, and I thought our kids came out in the second half and started making plays.
Yeah. Going from the first game of the year to now, the defense changing schemes because they came in with a different scheme this year with a 4-4 that you brought from Bowden High School. It seemed like that they've slowly molded into that team that you wanted them to be on defense by the end of the year.
Well, they play faster when they know what's going on, and it takes time to teach kids the different schemes. It's not like college or NFL where it's their only job. You got kids in the summertime. We have kids that are playing baseball, playing basketball, and football. So they're doing a lot of stuff for Manchester High School in the summertime. I don't think the community and a lot of people understand the amount of time these kids put in. And some people may say that, well, they're just having fun and playing a sport, but they're representing Manchester High School as well. So the work they're putting in is not only for themselves, but they do it for the school and the community. But these kids, they responded very well. Some of them could have hung their heads early in the year when we were not having success. I think we came out of the gates and played a very good Charlton County team and got baptized. But we preach and practice. We're gonna get better every day. We're gonna do the same thing over and over. And eventually they understood that, and they got pretty good at what they were trying to do.
We'll be back with more to talk about the future of Manchester football on the Manchester Football Coaches Show.
Here at Sun Fashions, we have a variety of all your needs from half wigs to whole wigs, from lace front wigs to ponytails. We also carry your beauty supply needs. We have your latest fashion in jewelry, handbags, clothes, and shoes. So whenever you're in town and you want to shop around, make it your passion to come to Sun Fashion.
Manchester Farm, Garden, and Hardware is your fall headquarters. Carhartt Clothing, the right gear for any job in comfort. Available for men, women, and children. Fall flowers and cool weather vegetables, along with an array of home decor for fall and the upcoming holiday season. Fall also means hunting season, rifles, handguns, and more to make sure you're ready to bring down the big one. Don't forget the great selection of Georgia boots. It's all at Manchester Farm, Garden, and Hardware.
Time for a new mattress? Wilson's Fine Furniture in Manchester has a great selection. From twin size to king size, Wilson's has it. In fact, Wilson's Fine Furniture is your hometown mattress outlet with name brands like Sealy, Simmons, Serta, and more, all at competitive prices. Wilson's also carries a full line of living room sets from Ashley Furniture. Save big now with 30% off all in-stock living room sets. Pay cash and save even more. And don't forget appliances, your hometown mattress outlet. Wilson's Fine Furniture, Main Street in Manchester.
Welcome back to the Manchester Football Coaches Show. Before we get into the new season that's going to come upon us here in 2016, we want to take time to thank the sponsors that brought us down there to broadcast that game in Brooks County on Legends 1370, Southern Cart Services of LaGrange, Georgia, Magic City Grill, Manchester, Pasley and Noose of Thomaston, Barnesville, and Griffin, Manchester Farm, Garden, and Hardware, Pedal Pusher, Sideline Sports, Big Truck Tree Service, and JT Science, all Manchester. Coach, when you have businesses come in from the community that help promote you guys, it really does mean a lot going down there when you have a game that far away for them to listen to it back at home.
Oh, it means a lot to the kids as well. I mean, these kids benefit from sponsors throughout the town. They benefit from the community just as the community benefits from them. I know we have had many businesses and churches step up to the plate and help our young guys out this year. We're very appreciative of everybody that's helped out.
And so now moving into next year, every team has the guys that, that move on into better things. They graduate high school, they move to the next part of their lives, and you have kids come back and help your football team. Talk a little bit about the guys that are leaving that you'll have to replace going into next year.
Offensively, we're losing. In the wing tee, we're losing 2 guards, and anytime you lose guards in the wing tee offense, that's big because they're asked to do a lot in our offense. You're talking about Jimmy Lee Rose and Owens at the guard spot, and we got to replace them. Early in the year they weren't quite sure what they were doing, a new offense, but late in the year they turned out to be 2 really good offensive guards. I wish I would have had them for 3 or 4 years. I thought they would been even better being the same offense over and over year after year. But it's going to hurt a little bit losing 2 guards. We got to find a replacement. Then you look at the tackle spot. You got one coming back, but the other one, Powell, is also leaving, and he's one of those guys that he put a hat on somebody every single play. And I know people take that for granted, but sometimes offensive linemen don't put the hat on somebody every single play. He wasn't always blocking the right guy as far as his rules and assignment. Early in the year, he probably didn't grade out that well who he was supposed to block. But later in the year, he got better with understanding his rules and his assignments, and he came off the ball. I was very proud of Powell. Then in the backfield, you're looking at losing the cowbell and our fullback. You're talking about Anthony Bell. He's an 1,100-yard guy. That's anytime you lose at 1,100 yards in the backfield, that's pretty difficult to replace. And then on the flip side of that, in our passing game, you're losing Addy and Preacher Man. So he's about 600 yards in the passing game. He's one of those guys that kept the safeties off our halfbacks and off our fullback because anytime we could stretch the field vertically, and I can't tell you enough. You're not going to have that every year, especially in a small ball. You're only given so much talent, and he's the best receiver that I have ever coached.
Now on the defensive side of the ball, you got some guys, some leaders on that side, including I think Kadarian Brown was a senior this year as well. You lose one of your linebackers.
Yes, we lose a outside linebacker, inside backer, and defensive end and a cornerback. Dixon's a senior that I talked about earlier in this show. We have to replace him. He's one of those guys. He's a yes sir, no sir guy. He did everything he was asked to do. Then you're looking at Anthony Bell at the outside linebacker spot. He was a very good looking body out there. He made some plays later in the year and he did an outstanding job for us. Then Preacher Man, can't tell you enough. He was very intimidating out there. He's almost a receiver playing cornerback. He was running routes instead of the other team's receiver, and he was catching their balls as much as he was catching ours. Then C. Brown in the middle, he actually led the team on tackles this year. Coach Turner told me that the other day, so that's pretty exciting for a senior to go out that way. He can say his last year he led the team in tackles, but he's one of those guys. He was hard-nosed. He did what he was asked to do. He wasn't prototypical inside linebacker. He's not going to be tall and too big, but he did his job. I mean, it's very fun to watch.
And, with all those guys coming out, they're all critical pieces of this team, but it seems like that you almost feel revitalized as you go into next year because most of your team is sophomores, and you get a lot of those guys back to help push this team forward.
We do have a lot of sophomores and a nice junior class to go with it, and a couple of pieces in the freshman class. People don't understand this is probably the most important time for this football team. We got to take care of the academics and the social aspects of being good students at Manchester High School, and that's the battle that we're fighting now, and that's the battle we're going to fight every day. We're going to try to get better at it, and hopefully the kids mature and grow up. Teenagers, freshmen, sophomores, sometimes they don't understand the importance of long-term. Kids can't see long-term. That's why kids in the 80s and 90s could visualize 10, 15 years down the road, but we're trying to make a positive impact, and an impact that will help them out 10, 15 years down the road.
Yeah. And, talking about the team itself, moving forward, this is a winning tradition at Manchester football, known for it in the 90s and, of course, in the early 2000s. Bring that back, starting with a 7-3 year in the regular season. You get a win in the playoffs, kind of trying to build that tradition back up. And these kids look forward, looking to continue that.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. They were upset after the game, and the coaching staff made a point to look at the scoreboard and remember how this feels, because to be honest with you, it does not feel good losing a game. It definitely does not feel good losing a game in the playoffs. I don't. You can preach good year all you want to, but it hurts losing in the playoffs, especially when you leave everything on the field. But the kids understood that. They had a week off for Thanksgiving, and Monday and today, Tuesday, they had an outstanding day in the weight room. So they're attacking things. I'm seeing a lot of positive things so far.
And, it's going to be a little bit different next year because we go back to, Class Single A. That was where Manchester was the old stomping grounds they used to have. And we don't know the region alignments yet. They haven't came out. But talk a little bit about moving down to Single A as to 2A.
Well, Single A, obviously, we're competing with schools closer to our numbers. We're going to be at the top of Single A, so our numbers are, as far as number of students, a little bit better than other schools. I think we ended up at 475, and the cutoff for Class A is 520. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to rivalries close by. I know hopefully we'll be in Greenville's region and Central Tarleton and the Bush Stones and the Pacellis, and hopefully we get to play Taylor County again, even though I don't want to say that running back and quarterback. But I'm looking forward to it. The bigger money gates obviously helps the program out. So we're going to try to progress through the program and hopefully have a couple good years in Class A.
Coach, this is going to be the final question of the show this year. Talk about a little bit, just your first year here in Manchester, an overall recap of how the year went and what to look forward to in the future.
I'll tell you what, it's a learning experience, and I'm very blessed to have outstanding administration. And I know Mrs. Kendra and Mr. Riley, they give me all their support, so I'm blessed in that aspect, and I could not tell you how blessed I am and having a good coaching staff. I know my father's here, but then you're talking about Coach Buck and Coach Owens, the two Manchester boys. They do so much for me. Then the two new guys that came with me, Coach Turner from Bowden and Coach Daughtry from Central Carroll. We were blessed to have them. The kids benefit from them being here, and I cannot tell you how lucky I am having them. But overall, it was a learning experience. It's an experience I would never forget. There's some things that we're going to get better at as years go by. I think that's what you try to do every year. I tell the kids to get better every day. I'm going to try to do the same thing.
Coach, congratulations on the year, and we look forward to seasons to come that are successful.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap up this year's coverage of the Manchester Football Coaches Show. From J.J. Hush and Coach Evan Hochstetlar, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching the Blue Devils Football Coaches Show. Brought to you by Manchester Farm Garden and Hardware and JT Signs. Join Coach Hochstetlar and your host J.J. Hush next week as they continue to review and preview all the Blue Devils football games right here on Mountain Vision. This is Mountain Vision.